A lump sum is a single large investment made at one time into a financial instrument. Such as, if 1 kg mangoes cost you rupees 230, you decide to buy 4 kgs at once, costing you 920. Whereas, with SIP, you can invest a fixed amount regularly into a financial instrument, hence splitting this 4 kgs into 1 kg per month and buying at a monthly rate. So, 230 for the first month, 200 for the second month, because the price of the mango will keep fluctuating. Hence, after 4 months, you get the same 4 kgs of mangoes for a total of 810, which you had earlier bought for 920. Now, because of such analogies and various other factors, which we'll discuss in a short while, there is a common myth, especially among our Indian community, that SIPs generate better returns than lump sum. Here, if the prices would have risen instead of falling, then SIP would have ended up costing you more. So then, which one is better, SIP or lump sum? Before we find an answer to that, hello and welcome to Alice Blue's YouTube channel, where we simplify everything related to investing, trading and personal finance one step deeper and one level easier. Similar to how there is no smoke without fire, there must be something which made us believe that SIP is better than lump sum, isn't it? Well, there are plenty, but one of the major reasons is Rupee Cost Averaging. With investing, our main goal is to minimize losses, for which we need to minimize the risks. Now, the benefit of RCA is that you will be investing a fixed amount every month, but the market price will keep fluctuating like we saw in case of the mangoes. But since your investment amount is fixed, you can buy more quantities when the prices are lower and less quantity when the prices are higher, which can average out your total money spent. Nahi samajh aaya? No worries. Let's understand with the help of an example. So let me open my Google Sheets over here. Now for this case, we're going to assume that these are the prices of a pencil. Now I know 45, 44 and all of this is like a little too expensive. Actually, it's really expensive for a pencil, but we're just going to assume that it's some kind of premium pencil, so it costs all of these amounts. And this is how the market kept on fluctuating for a period of 30 months. This is months and this is the price. So it dropped a little and then it started rising. So this is a bearish to bullish market. So if I copy the values from here, this is the market price for 30 months. Now, regardless of the market price, you always go into the market with rupees 100 in your hand. This amount will always be fixed. Now, this is how SIP works. The amount will be kept fixed unless you want to change it. For this example, we're just going to keep it as 100. One pencil costs 45. I am going there with 100. So how many pencils can I get? Simple. I divide this value with this one, and I get 2.22. Obviously, this is not possible. They're not going to chop the pencil and give it to me in half. Hence, we need to round this value, and these are the number of pencils I'll get every single month. This is the pencil spot. Another thing you need to keep in mind, first month I'll have 2 pencils, but the next month I'll have 2 new pencils, plus I'll have these 2 already existing pencils with me. Hence, I'll have 4 pencils. Third month, I'll have 6 pencils. This 2, this 2, this 2, 6. Similarly, by the end of the 30th month, I will have 77 pencils. So the total number of pencils will be 77. Now, I got 77 pencils at the end of month 30 for 3,000 rupees. Let me just change the format of this one. By the end of month 30, I had bought 77 pencils for 3,000 rupees. Now what if I was extremely unlucky and I went and bought the pencil when the market was at its highest? So say when the pencil was being sold for 48 rupees, I went in and I bought 77 pencils for 48 rupees. Now it would cost me 3,696 to buy the same 77 set of pencils. So this is the highest amount that I would have to pay. Highest amount, that is if I'm extremely unlucky. Now, if instead I was extremely lucky, then I accidentally went and bought the pencils when the market was at its lowest, which was 30, right? So I bought 77 pencils for the lowest market price of 30, which only costed me 2,310, right? Now, an average investor would not know that how much more lower this market might go or how much more higher this market might go. Now, we don't know what if this starts dropping from 48, what if it comes lower, or what if it goes higher from 48 to 50 and then it just costs me even more than this. That's where your rupee cost averaging or RCA comes into picture, because you got the same 77 pencils for 3000, which, if I calculate this, it is the average of your highest and your lowest amount, 3003. Especially for our Indian parents, what can be better than this? Hence the myth. However, like I said before, this is largely dependent on the market conditions. Now listen to me carefully, this is important. So if the prices are falling, then you can buy more units through SIP. And later, the prices rise back up, then the value of these units will increase as well. Hence, SIP performs better in a bearish to bullish market. But like we saw right after COVID, if the market starts rising constantly or starts a bull run, then lump sum would give better returns. Because you started with a huge amount and the market kept rising, so this money gets to grow significantly from what you started with. Let me prove this to you with another example. Now if I bring in the angle of SIP and lump sum, this is your SIP sheet. I'll leave the link in the description. So another column gets added, which is called as the market value. I'm just going to call it SIP because this is for SIP, this is SIP's column. Now what this means is that if I go over to my graph over here, now say if I went and bought 2 pencils when the market value was 45, right? So 45 into 2, 90. So if I sell my pencils at this point in the market, I'll get 90 rupees. Now say I wait for some time and the market drops to say this value. Now if I sell my pencils, say if I have 2 pencils in my hand, it's 66 rupees ka pencil. So if I sell my 2 pencils at this point, then I'll only get 66 rupees. So see how I'm getting 90 here and only 66 at this point. That is called as the current market value of your stock, whatever stock you have in hand. That is called as the market value. So at this point, I had 2 pencils and the market value was 45. So the market value will be 90 rupees. Similarly, by the end of the 30th month, the market value of my 77 pencils was 3,696. Because this is the total amount of money that I'm going to receive with SIP, 3,696. Now this market, keep in mind that this is a bearish to bullish market. Now I invested 3,000 in this bearish to bullish market, and towards the end of month 30, I received 3,696. Now what if instead of SIP, I had done lump sum investment? Say I'm going to invest all of this 3,000 in the beginning itself in this when the market price was rupees 45. So if I enter, so I'll get 67 pencils. So in this case, I'm not buying or selling the stock again and again. So my number of pencils remain 67 until the end. Okay, so this is the total number of pencils here. Now if we consider the market value of these pencils via my lump sum investment, then the number of pencils multiplied by their market price. 3,000 in the month 1, and towards the end of month 30, SIP investment is giving me 3,696, whereas my lump sum investment is giving me 3,200. So if I were to check the XIRR of my SIP, it's going to be called as the XIRR calculator, and we'll also need the exact, let's call it date. We'll need the exact date. So it will be say 1st January 2024. We just need another column with 2nd June, say, because we need an ending date of when the value will be taken out in case of XIRR. We need the final value, which is 3,696. Let me just place that over here. Now, if I calculate the XIRR, you can see that I am getting an XIRR of 18.11%. Now, if we were to calculate the CAGR, in this case, CAGR, there's a formula. So final value minus divided by initial value raised to the power 1 by total number of time minus 1. So if I were to put that value here, I'll get a CAGR of 2.62% and an XIRR of 18.11%. Now, I did say that it's largely dependent on the market condition. Now say instead of a bearish to bullish market, we had a bull run, like the COVID case, when it was constantly rising. So if I copy the value from here, alright, so the only thing that we're going to change would be the market price. So I'll remove this, paste this instead. Now these are the market prices for the bull run. Now look at your SIP return and your lump sum return. See the difference? That's what I was talking about. Now the problem here is that this curve or the market movement is unpredictable. So without the proper knowledge and the right skills, investing in both lump sum and SIP carry their own set of risks. If you have a good understanding about the market timings, then with lump sum, you can get better returns, like we saw in the examples. Secondly, it's a one-time effort, so you don't need to remember to pay monthly. You can invest once and relax. Thirdly, it is convenient. So if you suddenly get a bonus or inheritance or the payment from your freelancing, you don't have to wait. You can just immediately go and invest. On the flip side, with SIP, it keeps you disciplined. Regular monthly investments cultivate an investing habit from as early as you start, which is a really good thing. Secondly, it reduces risk, like we saw in case of Rupee Cost Averaging. Time stretches out the risk. Hence, you can easily balance out profits and losses. Thirdly, say if another COVID-like situation occurs and your salary drops, then SIP gives you the opportunity to reduce or increase the investment amount, and you can even easily pause or cancel an existing SIP according to your convenience. So, as an investor, you can try to do both. Keep your SIP, but at the same time, try your hand with lump sum. But again, make sure that you have a proper knowledge of the scheme, market and your goals before you start investing in either of these. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time.
Investments in securities markets are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.